Anchor down, Admiral Nation. It is the first ever episode of the Admiral Brag Sheet podcast. We're expanding the Admiral Brag Sheet this year just to do a once a week capture of everything going on in the athletic department. So I'm Matt Walters, the athletic director here at Gulfport High School, and alongside me is Wesley Hyde and Tripp Alexander. They're both members of the student athlete leadership team, the first ever student athlete leadership team at Gulfport High School, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
I'm Wesley. I'm a senior and I play baseball and golf.
I'm Tripp Alexander. I'm a senior and I play soccer.
Okay, great. As I said, this is just a podcast that's going to allow us to brag a little bit about everything going on in the athletic department and tell what's coming in the future. So today, just the itinerary, we're going to recap what happened last week in the athletic department, October 1st through the 7th. We're going to preview the coming week, and then we're going to talk a little bit about a topic that could affect high school students coming up soon, which is NIL deals. So first of all, we want to talk about the October 1st through 7th recap, and we're going to start with boys golf. And Wesley's got a little report of what happened in boys golf this past week.
Yeah, so last Tuesday, or I guess Monday it was, we had our final major for the year for golf at Windance. We finished tied for second place, and the scores were Crosby Parker shot a 76, which was the team leading score. Tyler Gruitt shot an 82, Cannon Parker shot an 83, and Reed Williams shot an 81. And then Wesley Hyde shot a 95. That was me. It's not the best day, but we move on. And so, yeah, that's it for the golf front.
So what course did you say y'all played in this past week?
Windance.
So Windance is a course that y'all play quite a bit, right? You
Yes,
practice there a little bit? Okay, great. So let's move on to the girls who played a scramble this past week at Bayou Vista. What do you got for us on that?
Yeah, shout out to Avery McHugh and Lala Lee. They came in second place for the Lady Admiral Scramble with a score of 69, which is very, very respectable.
Good. I got a chance to go out and watch them play a little bit that week, and I followed them for 3 or 4 holes, and I saw them shoot 2 birdies in a row. They were pretty excited about it. I got a chance to play at Bayou Vista. We saw some other girls play, but it was a really cool event. All the girls were wearing pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. They had a good time out there, and those 2 girls finished second, which is pretty exciting for them, and they're heading into district play this week, and so both teams, I think, are looking to make a little bit of an impact at district. So moving on to volleyball, the volleyball team got a chance to play 2 games this past week. Monday, October the 2nd, they played East Central at home. The JV won that game, and the varsity also won in a clean sweep. They won 25-18, 25-17, 25-17. That improved their record to 28-5 on the year, so really good year going for them. And then Tuesday night was senior night for the girls volleyball team, where 9th grade JV and varsity all played and all 3 won, with the varsity winning some close games against a really good West Harrison team. Some good games that went on that day. The varsity won 27-25, 25-13, and 25-22. They had to come from behind in 2 of those sets to win and improve their record to 29-5 on the year. So right now they're 1 win shy of their win total from last year and what was supposed to be a rebuilding year for them with all the seniors that they lost. So it's been a really good year for them so far. Then finally, we're going to come to cross country and football. But cross country last week, Friday, they were at Ocean Springs. The girls, we'll start with them first. They finished in second place at the Ocean Springs meet, which is good. It was their 4th top 3 finish on the year. And I'm just going to go down the list of the top 5 finishers for the Lady Admirals. Ava Benefield finished in 5th place. Lucy Stewart finished in 7th place. Gianna Morales finished in 8th place. Elle Simmons finished in 10th. And Savannah Riggins finished in 13th place. So it was a really good meet for them. They've got districts looming really soon as well. And then the boys finished in 4th place that day. With Ethan Polk finishing in 20th, Sam Tyndall in 33rd, Crosby Parker 35th, Andrew Crumbly in 36th place, and Sam Stewart finished in 37th place. So you see a bunch of our Admiral runners finished right there together in a pack, pushing each other to a 4th place finish in the meet. So it was a really good day for the Lady Admirals and the Admirals. But the highlight of the week and our game of the week, and we're going to go into a lot of discussion on that, was Friday night's football game. It was BBB week. Beat Biloxi bad, and the Admirals took that very seriously on Friday night. It was a good night at Milner Stadium. They had a really impactful night, but before that, I want to talk a little bit about a controversy that happened Monday night. Wesley, you and I talked about this last week, and I just want to get your guys' opinions on what happened. So Monday night, our 9th grade and JV teams went to Pearl River Central to play the last regular season 9th grade JV game of the year. We had some bus troubles getting up there, some things that were out of our control. We got there a little bit late. We contacted the other teams to let them know, hey, we were coming. We're having some bus problems. Our 9th grade team was undefeated going into that game. Pearl River Central only had 1 loss going into the game, so the winner really had a shot at being in the championship game. And it appears when we showed up there, the refs in Pearl River Central had made a decision that we were going to have to forfeit the ball game, which could potentially cost us a chance to play in the championship. A lot of discussion went back and forth. It ended up they forced us to forfeit the game, but they allowed us to play 2 10-minute running running clock halves. Each team got 3 possessions. We were able to stop them on their first drive. We went down and scored really quick on our first drive, and then it was halftime. So only 1 possession per team at halftime. Second half, we fumbled the opening kickoff after having 1 play with our backup quarterback in. They were able to punch it in from the 25-yard line, and we got the ball back, and the time ran out before the game was to end. But the big story was the forfeit because of bus problems. So I guess I'd like to get a little bit of y'all's opinions on that.
Yeah, I'll just start off. I mean, highway robbery is the phrase I would use to describe that, because the 9th grade squad is really solid, and I'm not going to say that they were going to win if it was a real game, but I'm saying that they were probably going to win if it was a real game. Yeah, it's not really fair because, I mean, that you can't control the bus situation. So I know you said y'all are going to
we're
protest
appealing it and protesting it, and we'll see where that falls in line, and we probably won't have an answer until tomorrow, Tuesday, but, just trying to play a game off the field is not a whole lot of fun, so just wanted to hear y'all's opinions on that.
I mean, I think Wesley hit it on the nose, but, I mean, it becomes more of a pride thing. I mean, our 9th grade team is really solid.
Yeah.
And, I mean, to go undefeated is something that, I mean, is becoming the Gulfport culture, and to get robbed of that is not cool, not right.
Yeah, so we'll kind of see how that plays out. I know our team would love to get a chance to play 4 quarters against them. And like you said, we don't know that we would win, but we'd like a chance to play an actual ball game against them and see who the better team is. But all that aside, we'll give news updates on that as it comes along. But the big game at Milner beat Biloxi bad, and we did. It was a fun night at Milner Stadium. I'm just going to run down a little bit of the highlights of the game, some stats, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about it in depth. But first of all, the final score, Gulfport 42, Biloxi nothing. We did have a running clock in the second half because of the MHSA rule where if you're up by 35 points in the second half, the clock runs the rest of the way. But we scored 21 points right out the gate in the first quarter, 14 points in the second quarter, so it was 35-0 at halftime, which means a running clock in the second half, which limited our possessions in the second half, where we scored 7 points in the third quarter and neither team scored in the fourth. But it improved us to 3-3 overall and 1-0 in region play, which is good. It's always good to get that first region win. And then Biloxi dropped to 3-4 on the year and 0-1 in region play. But before we get into some of the stats on the game, it's really good to be able to get back to Milner after a really rough 3-week stretch where we played some of the best that the state had to offer. Really close ball games for the most part. You know, we lost to Madison Central in a really close game where we gave up a touchdown on our last possession and just kind of ran out of time as we were marching down the field at the end. Then up 21-0 on Picayune and falling 28-21 against one of the best teams Mississippi has to offer over the last couple years, and then traveling to Brandon and fell behind 21-0 before we fought back and got it within one score before halftime, and then again got it within one score with about 4 minutes left in the game, so showed some resiliency. And then a bye week last week, so it was really good to get back in the win column there after going through a really brutal stretch. And just want to hear y'all's opinions on what it was like to kind of watch us start off the year really strong, then struggle for a couple weeks as we played some tougher teams, and then getting back on the right track Friday night.
I mean, they started off very well. I think Coach Pinnock has the program where it needs to be going, and he's done a great job so far. We ran into some trouble. I mean, some referee calls against Madison Central. It probably could have gone either way. But Picayune has a great team. I mean, and it was just a couple frustrating losses. They could have gone our way, and they're, like you said, very good teams. So, I mean, it was good to, watch them get out there and, train and reset for the bye week. And, it's always a good game against Biloxi. So, I mean, everyone just was ready to go and ready to hit them on the nose, and we did.
Yeah.
So it was good to see that and good to see them, put a smile on their face and get ready to go back to work next week.
That's a great trip, and you mentioned the some questionable referee calls in that Madison Central game. I think the biggest one that comes to everybody's mind is last drive we were up on a 4th and 28. We get a face mask penalty, but you guys have both known from being a part of a team is you don't put the game in a referee's hands. So when you put the game in the referee's hands, when you should put other teams away, it really struggles. What are your thoughts on that, Wesley? That just kind of letting that 4th and 28 dictate how that game ended.
Yeah, that was brutal to say the least. Really, really tough to watch because I feel like, honestly, Gulfport probably outplayed Madison Central that game, definitely on offense. I said it before and I'll say it again. I think Gulfport has one of the most talented teams in the state, player-wise. But, yeah, to have it come down to a call like that, it's really, really tough to watch. But, I think it's one of those games. It's early in the season. It's a tough loss, but I think it's going to define the rest of the season, and there's two ways you can respond. You can respond negatively or positively, and Friday night's game was a very positive reaction to the kind of drought that we've been in these last couple weeks.
Very good. We definitely didn't put anything in any officials' hands Friday night with the way we played, and I think that's the expectation from the coaching staff, the players, and everybody surrounding the program. So let's just get into some of the game highlights that we had, and I'm just going to run down some list of some statistics, and then we can just talk about what we saw on Friday night. First of all, the offense obviously had a really good night. When you score 42 points, there's nothing but good that comes out of that. But 430 total yards from the offense, 142 passing yards, 288 rushing yards, and we'll just start with the quarterback position. Nico Williams had a solid night, went 12 for 22 passing, had 142 yards passing and 2 touchdown passes. So a really good night from Nico, really solid. Maybe didn't run it as well Friday night as he has in the past, but did his job from the pocket that night. Cooper Crosby, is great to see him back. Great to see him back. He suffered that torn MCL in the spring game, missed the first 4 games of the year, finally got to come back a little bit against Brandon and looks healthy, looks really good. Had 11 runs for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns. What was it like seeing Cooper back? It was great seeing him back.
I mean, that's almost 9 yards a carry. That dude's a tank.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a sophomore, and he's just crazy. Like, watching him play is just absurd.
Yeah.
He just runs he has a chip on his shoulder, and I love to see him play.
Yeah, it's a good kid. Good to see him healthy and back. What do you think, Wesley?
Yeah, I know we were talking earlier. Probably if we would have had him those 3 games that we lost, I think we definitely beat Madison Central pretty easily because we could have just ran it out with, give him the ball and let him go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Picayune, we were up 21-0. We probably would have ran some clock out with him too. And yeah, it's really big to have him back. You can definitely see a difference when he's on the field, whenever he's not on the field and when he is on the field. So yeah, it's huge to have him back for sure.
Absolutely, and he's only going to get healthier. He's obviously not 100% right now. We're hoping that he gets 100% by the end of the year for the playoff push. Ocean Springs is that one that we have circled, and we want him back 100% for. That's what we're going for. But, Gavin Brown had an outstanding night all the way around as well. He had 4 runs for 63 yards. Which is incredible, but he had 2 touchdowns with that, but he also had 5 catches for 34 yards. It's good to see Gavin being used in a lot of different capacities. I think every team needs a guy like Gavin. So what was it like watching him Friday night?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's a special player. He's definitely going to go to the next level and do some big things for sure. But yeah, no, he's one of the most shifty players I've ever seen. There will be 5 players around him, and he'll manage to get out of it and turn nothing into something. So, yeah, it's really the combo with Gavin and Cooper is going to be huge for us, and Nico and our wide receivers. I mean, our offense is firing on all cylinders right now, and it's really, really cool to see.
Yeah, good. And, we've also got 2 other really good backs there. It's easy for one guy to shine or 2 guys to shine and maybe other guys get lost in the background. But when you have 4 good backs that can run the ball, and the other 2 guys, Desmond Smith had 8 runs for 59 yards. Des, did what he did. And then DeCorion Payton, 8 runs for 59 yards. That's 4 guys really carrying the load for you, running the ball. How difficult is that to beat, in your opinion, Trip?
I mean, you can come at you with something new every play. I mean, that's crazy to think about. I mean, but also it's the importance of taking some weight off of Cooper's shoulders. As he's coming back. He has a little bit of security, knowing that there's definitely guys behind him that are gonna go to work when he needs some water, needs a break. It's good to have those guys. I mean, what DeCorion busting one loose in the first half.
Yeah, he did.
So I mean, he just ran the ball. They're all running the ball well. It's good to have Gavin. I mean, he runs the ball. He's kind of like Taysom Hill. He's just a guy you don't know where he's gonna be. Lines up in the slot, lines up out wide. I mean, he's just an animal. I mean, he's got good work ethic, and he's going to do good things.
Yeah, and obviously we've talked a lot about our backs today. We've also got some really good wide receivers, and Cam Joseph led us Friday night receiving. He was just selected to the Bernard Blackwell All-Star Game, which is the North-South All-Star Game for seniors, but had a great night. 4 catches for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns. I enjoyed watching Cam last year. It was my first year at Gulfport, and I always said, you want a big play, you throw the ball to Cam, because he's going to catch it and he's going to do something special with it. Talk a little bit about Cam and how important he is as a wide receiver to our team.
Yeah, no, he's a very special player. That's huge for our quarterback to have somebody like him when the pocket breaks down and you don't know where to go, just look for number 6 and toss it up there. Big game from him Friday, and I'm looking to see a lot more, and it's going to be impressive to watch him play the rest of the season.
Okay, good. Outside of that, the defense, obviously, huge night from the defense. When you only give up 3 first downs the entire game, that's pretty impressive. And we had some guys that led the way with that. And let's just start off with Kai McClendon, who made the Mississippi-Alabama game All-Star. So he's going to get a chance to go represent Mississippi against our rivals. Off to the side of us, Alabama. And Kai McClendon had a great night. He had 2 sacks and 4 tackles. But just talk about the beast that Kai is back there.
Kai busts off the line almost 2 seconds every time. He's just an animal to guard. I mean, he hasn't been contained yet. I mean, I only watched bits and pieces of the Brandon game, but I know that those games we played at home, he's just been in the backfield, just grinding out tackles, gutting it out, and he definitely is getting the respect he deserves with the Bernard Blackwell game, and he's done a great job, and he's just always look up and Kai's making a tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always there.
Yeah.
So it's good to have a guy like that, and secondary behind him's done great too. So, I mean, we're just really well-rounded on the defensive side of the ball right now.
Yeah. You mentioned the secondary. Prince Cottenham and Damon Felder each came away with a turnover that game. Prince with a big pick, and Damon recovered a fumble. Both of those were big plays just to get the offense the ball back in great position. You mentioned what a great secondary we have. Wesley, you want to throw anything else into that? With those two guys back there, who, by the way, were also selected to the Bernard Blackwell All-Star game.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to Prince. He was saying that last year at this point he kind of had the same amount of picks. I think he had like 2 or 3, and then last year he ended up having, I think it was 7 picks in 7 games, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And he's a ball hawk. I mean, he'll go up there and get it. I mean, he's an incredible athlete, just really special. Our defense. And then shout out to the boys in the trenches.
Yeah.
O-line and D-line, I mean, dogs, absolute dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, just pretty much bullying teams, honestly.
Yeah.
O-line setting up the run game, like we were talking about earlier. D-line just explosive. I mean, it's awesome to watch our team coming together like this.
Well, it's great you mentioned that because every coach is going to tell you that games are won in the trenches. You know, we brought in a whole new coaching staff this year, not just our head coach, but our offensive line coach, Justin Jones, coming from Olive Branch and bringing his philosophy of offensive line play with him, and then Darius Brown, our defensive line coach, coming from Holmes, and both of those guys really have their lines playing really well, and that just sets up a really good finish for us as long as we can maintain that momentum. But it was a team effort. It wasn't just those guys in the trenches. We mentioned the guys in the secondary, but you also had Kadarius Reed, who had 2 sacks and 2 tackles. Yaviel Lopez with 6 tackles. He led the team with 6 tackles. So you mentioned a lot of guys right there. Not every or nobody really has just that eye-popping numbers. But when you have everybody on defense playing together and playing their part, it just makes for a well-rounded team like we had on offense. What do y'all think about our defense and how it's looking for the year, other than the guys in the trenches?
I mean, to use an example, Javier Lopez got his hands on the ball. Prince ended up catching it. I mean, they're working off of each other. Everything is just, like you said, there's no really stat freaks, but, tackle's a tackle. You're getting it done. We're really just keeping, like you said, Biloxi had 3 first downs. If you watch the newscast that Jeff Hager did, there was like 5 minutes of highlights before he said, this is Biloxi's first down.
Yeah.
That truly, if you're not watching the game, you're like, dang, that's crazy. It's a shutout's a shutout. That speaks for itself. So, you just know that, those guys are getting it done. They're not going to, a yard, that means something to them. They're just going to try and push you so far back, you have no idea. They're going to hit you, and they're not, letting up. And they're all bouncing off each other. I've seen it when we've allowed plays, big plays downfield. All the senior captains will be hitting the other guys in the helmet, come on. They're bouncing off each other. It's really well, I know Javiel just gets on some guys sometimes for just – they're keeping each other in line.
Yeah.
They're bouncing them together, and it's great to see that they're all coming together. They've done a great job this year. So
they have, and it wasn't just Friday night, because at home our defense has been really special in the first half especially, and starting off the game is so big. I wrote down the stat. We've only allowed 10 points in the first half at Milner Stadium this year in 5 games. That's incredible to say that. 10 points, that's 2 points per game. That gives you a chance in any game that you have to play. We had the little hiccup at Brandon where we gave up 21 in the first half really quick, honestly. It was within the first 8 minutes we gave up 21 points. The defense settled in and held them at bay the rest of the game, giving the offensive chance to come back against Brandon and make it a close game at the end of the ball game. But, defense wins championships, as they all say. Offense sells tickets, but defense wins championships, and it looks like we have one of those defenses that can go help us win a championship this year. So what else did y'all see? I know I've talked a lot about the stats, and anything else that popped to your mind about the game Friday night?
It was our first district game. Obviously that's the most ideal way you want to start district play. I know a lot of the teams that we're going to be playing are going to watch that film and probably be a little scared, honestly. That's a huge game to start off with. I know we have D'Iberville away coming up this week, so that should be another good test. Just ideal win, perfect win.
Yeah,
great game.
Tripp, any last thoughts on the game Friday night before we move on to what's coming this next week?
I think that's a great way to start getting back in the groove of Admiral football. I mean, we started off 2-0, and then, like we said, you know, played some really, really, really good football teams, and really probably should have came away with 2 or 3 wins, maybe. I mean, but I mean, you never know, and that's just the way the cards fall. But I mean, they did a great job rallying back after the bye week, and I guess that's what it's for. And I'm really excited to see the rest of district play, and especially the Ocean Springs game. I think that'll be a great game going forward, and I can't wait to watch it. So, I mean, I think they're doing a great job and definitely trending in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, so coming up this week in Gulfport Athletics, Tuesday, October the 10th, we're going to have at, I believe it's at 9 o'clock in the morning, the GHS boys golf team is going to be teeing it off at Sunkist for the district tournament. Tell us a little bit about what to expect from that.
Yeah, should be a good day. You know, they just changed the rule, or they made a rule change to where it's only the top 2 teams from the district that make it. So it'll be a little bit of a more difficult challenge because, you know, Ocean Springs, they're up there. They're really good at golf. And, you know, the second place spot will probably come down to us in Biloxi and St. Martin, stuff like that. So, yeah, it'll be cool because it'll be like a real, like, it'll be actually like competing against other teams. You know, golf is a pretty individual sport, but tomorrow it should be really fun to watch and play in. You know, I'm really excited, and it should be a good day.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going out and watching, man. We've got some great weather for golf right now, too. It's nice and comfortable out there, and I think we're going to probably see some of the best scores of the year out there. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, October the 10th, the girls volleyball team's playing in the first round of the playoffs. We're hosting Northwest Rankin at 6 o'clock at home in Burt Jenkins Gym. I just want to remind everybody it is playoff time, so those ticket prices do go up. The state decided this year that all rounds of the playoffs are going to be $10, so just be prepared for that. When you come to the gate, it's going to be a $10 charge. But our girls volleyball team obviously has had a really good year. You know, if we win that, we get a chance to go play Brandon in the second round, as long as they get past D'Iberville as they expect. So, you know, what do you think a little bit about trip Tuesday night? The Lady Admirals playing Northwest Rankin.
I know it's big to be at the Burt because, like we talked about, I mean, we got a new coach and pretty much a brand new squad on the court. So, I mean, it's crazy that they've done this well. I mean, I expected it, but I know some people didn't really expect Gulfport to come out of nowhere and do this well. To host a playoff game is big, and I know that Brandon knocked us out last year, right? And one of our big years. So I mean, that'd be really good to get back up there and, you know, show them what the coast is like, and, you know, get them back for last year. I mean, it'd be huge. And I know Northwest Rankin's probably a good program. I mean, athletically they have a good program. I'm not sure a lot about their volleyball team, but they got to come here and come to the Burt after a 3-hour drive, and it's gonna be tough to beat. So
which they found out in baseball last year.
They did.
They found out in baseball last year, and it's always tough to get on that bus for 3 hours and play a tough team. You know, Northwest Rankin is going to be the 3 seed coming out of that region, so they're obviously going to be a challenge. But I think the Lady Admirals are up for that. You know, and I can't wait to see them play. And very young team too, you know, outside of the 2 seniors that we have, you know, a bunch of kids without experience, but obviously have played up to par, and it's just bright for the future for us. Then Thursday we've got the girls golf team is teeing off at Shell Landing for their district tournament, and, you know, coming off of a good scramble last week where we had those 2 girls that combined for a 69 score. Hopefully we're going to have a really good showing at the district tournament. You got anything to add to that?
Yeah, no, it should be. I know Shell Landing's kind of a tough course, but, you know, I know our ladies are up for it, so it should be a good day for the Lady Admirals.
Okay. On top of that, Bioview Middle School and Gulfport Central Middle School both have their final football game of the year on Thursday. Bioview is going to be at North Gulfport, and Gulfport Central is going to be at Colmer. Hopefully both those teams can go get a good win. Those are always future Admirals, so we're always cheering for them to do well. And then, you know, as long as our Lady Admirals win tomorrow night in volleyball, they'll be traveling either to Brandon, or, you know, if D'Iberville upsets them, we would host D'Iberville here at Burt Jenkins Gym. But most likely we're going to Brandon for that ball game. So it's going to be us getting on that bus for 3 hours. But hopefully we can go up there and take care of business and, you know, keep on rolling. So And then Friday night, it's going to be another big test for the Admirals. We're going on the road for the second time this year in football. Going to D'Iberville, who's coming off of a tough 43-13 loss to Ocean Springs. What's the expectations for that game?
A W.
W,
Yeah,
I like it.
I mean, we got to take care of business. I know Denver had a good team a couple years ago, but I mean, district play.
Yeah.
Every win is precious, and
Yeah.
I think our guys know that. I think Pinnock knows that, and so I mean, I think they're ready to go, and
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
Good to watch and get out there to go watch.
Yeah, and I know our defensive coordinator, Zach Green, is going to be looking for possibly our third shutout of the year. He's always wanting to shut somebody out, and hopefully he can get those guys up to par and ready to do some work again on Friday night. And then Saturday, a couple events coming up. Our Gulfport High School swim team is swimming in the South State Championship at the Biloxi Natatorium. And then our cross-country team is hosting their only meet of the year Saturday at 9 o'clock over at Bayou Elementary. It's called the Admiral Bayou Classic. It's really fun. It really shows off one of Gulfport's nicest parks. They run through that park right there next to the elementary school. I'm looking forward to that event. I think it's going to be something really good. But we're going to wrap up for today, but we do want to talk a little bit about a conversation we're going to have next week. It's NIL, okay? So name, image, and likeness. It's all over college athletics, but brace yourself because it's coming to high school before long. Already 30 high school or 30 states have an NIL program for high school athletes. Georgia became the 30th last week when they decided they were going to allow NIL to be available for high school athletes. It's going to look probably different than the college athletes, but we're going to have an in-depth conversation about that next week. Probably be interviewing some high school athletes and how they think it might affect us. What do you guys think about that conversation coming up? Are you excited about that?
Yeah, no, it should be a really interesting topic to talk about. The fact that 30 out of 50 states already have it is interesting. I didn't really know that.
Yeah.
Maybe Mississippi might be next coming here
We don't
soon.
want to be last.
Yeah,
I know that.
true.
We don't want to be last.
I'm looking forward to interviewing some people and getting everyone's opinions about it.
Okay, Trip?
I'm excited for the week, learning more about it. I mean, I know a little bit about NIL as going into the college sports aspect, but I mean, I'm excited to see how that carries over into high school and how that will work, and I'm excited to talk to some people about what they might think of it. So
Great.
it'll be a fun conversation to have.
Good deal. Well, guys, I appreciate you joining me for this first ever Admiral Brag Sheet podcast. I think it's going to be a lot of fun just being able to present Gulfport Admiral athletics on a more broad platform out here, and I think we're going to learn a lot more about it and maybe educate the public about some topics like NIL, and it's going to be a lot of fun doing it. So appreciate you guys, and I'm looking forward to next week, and until that time, hoo-yah!